Oh, I don't even remember the question.
Your chicken fingers.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, man. All right. Hey, my name is Lauren Alley, and I was a missionary in Mobile, Alabama for 4 years.
Anyone can do this, but not everyone will.
So, when I was at the high school, we started to get an influx of just all these different students from around the city. And we had a lot of students who actually came in from the local inner city part of town. And I just fell in love with those students and fell in love with just the way the classroom was with them, all the life that they brought. And it kind of made me start to look at the churches around in the school and kind of, yeah, be like, man, who is reaching out to a lot of these kids outside of the church doors, outside of our church programs, outside of the school? And I kind of got frustrated with the church, the local church, like who is reaching out to these kids, who's going into the streets, who's going into these areas and parts of town that these kids are in. And I looked around and kind of noticed no one really was, and it just frustrated me. I got mad, and then I remember one day just really feeling God kind of flipped that back on me as I said, "Who is doing anything?" and him kind of say to me like, "Okay, well, you do something about that." And yeah, that was just really big for me and kind of started me on this journey of looking for what I was able to do and what could be done in the city, and eventually led to me leaving my job at the school to help start up Vagabond in Mobile. I think what surprised me most about starting up Vagabond was just how important and how vital these teens would be in our own lives, and just how much of their pain and aches became a part of our own in our own life, and what that kind of took on. You joined the mission to be a part of something bigger, to help out and all these things, but I think along the way what really surprised me was just how deep their hurt became my hurt, or all these things that they wanted became things that I wanted for them too so deeply. And I think I knew that there'd be definitely some of that, but I think to the degree that we really just cared for them and walked alongside them and cried alongside them was more than I could have imagined, but also one of the most beautiful parts of the mission too. One story that really sticks out, I got a call from the school that I used to be at, and they had an event and like 300 chicken fingers left over, asked if I knew of any place that would take those. So I told them I'd be right there. And so I picked up all these chicken fingers and headed to the home of a few of our teens. Their mom had just went to jail, so I knew they just needed some extra help, probably some food. And I arrived at their house and I knocked on the door holding this massive tray of chicken fingers. And all of a sudden, all these phone flashlights just turn on everywhere. And they had shut the power off in the house. And I think there were about 15 to 18 teens in the house. And the door swings wide and they all have their flashlights looking. And we set the chicken fingers on the table. And, I don't even know the last time they ate. And so I was telling them to dig in, and one of them stopped everyone and they said, "No, Lauren goes first. Let her get some first." And I'll just never forget that. It was this moment, a really strong reminder for me too. Here I was like bringing all this food, helping them out, and their first thought was to make me a part of that, which I just think is so, when I look back at my time in Mission of Vagabond and all these things that I thought it might be, at the heart, that's really what it was just doing life and sharing community with these teens, investing in them, and they also invested in me along the way. I think for me, one thing that, among many that I'll take from Vagabond, I was actually thinking about this the other day, listening to a song, and in the song it says, "May Christ be glorified on the altar of my life." And I think, in so many ways, we're always called to be laying down our life to serve others. In Vagabond, that's just kind of the name of the game. You're always laying down your life on behalf of these teens who deserve it, to let them be seen and known and loved, and so many little small sacrifices that you make to really show them how loved they are, how much Christ loves them. And at the end of the day, your prayer is just begging God that in all those small things, or maybe in the big things too, that Christ would be magnified, that he'd be glorified, that they'd see him. I'd say to anyone who's considering mission, I always go back to a quote by Father Gregory Boyle, and he talks about, for anyone to go out on the margins, for anyone to step into the places that other people don't want to step into, or places that even the church may or may not be engaging in. He says to go into those places, it's not a heroic thing, it's a human thing. And yeah, I think for anyone who has a desire to love others, a desire to make the church known and present in those places, a desire to help teens encounter the love of Christ and to see their worth. Yeah, I don't think that's a heroic thing at all. I just think it's a human thing. All of us are called to, whether you're in mission or not. But I think in a really unique and special way, more than any other place I know of, Vagabond opens the door for you to be able to do that in a really radical way.